Good morning, everyone. I'm Renee Summerhour with the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and we wanted to give you an update this week ahead for Las Vegas businesses. Now, of course, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, which has always been a big day for Vegas bars and restaurants, and also the NCAA men's basketball tournament gets underway on Thursday. Now, that event has always been big for businesses here in the Valley: hotels, casinos, bars, and restaurants. And now that capacity limits have been increased under the COVID-19 rules, many people now have a reason to be out and feel optimism for the tourism industry here in Las Vegas. Now, to discuss all of that, we are going to be joined by Review-Journal business reporter Rick Velotta and Bailey Schulz. Thank you both for joining me today. Rick, we will start with you. First question: what are local businesses saying about the increased capacity limits under the new rules? We've been talking about it for months now. Governor Steve Sisolak saying as long as we continue to trend in the direction he wants to see, capacity limits will increase month to month. So what are people saying?
Well, I think that a lot of them are excited about the fact that they're going to be able to expand capacity, but it's a mixed bag because 35% capacity was what it was going into this, and now it's 50% capacity. I don't think that a lot of these businesses are going to be truly happy until it's 100%. And in addition to that, there all the other rules of social distancing and uh, wearing masks, they're all still going to be in place. I think the restaurants are a lot more excited about it than the casinos are, because the casinos are seeing uh, some upticks, but they won't really see a lot until the convention business comes back. And you got to remember that the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, is kind of a significant date in terms of this whole situation because it was exactly, it was March 17th, 2020, when the casinos were shut down for 78 days. And that was a huge blow to the economy, and it was a huge blow to Southern Nevada when that happened. So right now, I think it's a mixed bag. Most people are excited about it, but they won't be totally satisfied until it's completely reopened.
Yeah, and we all of us here, just the feeling of how bizarre it was to see the strip completely empty, and now it's just a completely different atmosphere. Lots of optimism in the air. Bailey, you posted a story Monday evening about Las Vegas hotel rates, and those are, I assume, starting to increase. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, so especially looking towards this upcoming weekend, it seems like some rates are just skyrocketing. Where, for example, Circa, which is the new property downtown, last Saturday was charging $299 per hotel room. This Saturday is $399. In that same time span, starting rates at the Cosmopolitan went from 325 to 650. Red Rock Resorts went from 188 to 399. So we are seeing some significant increases, and that is really just a sign of increased demand for these rooms. And so what a lot of hotel operators are telling us so far is that this is just increased demand because of March Madness. MGM Resorts also said spring break is playing a role in this. And so this is a big time for Las Vegas and is really helping drive demand. And like Rick said, we're not back to where we were before, but this is certainly much different than where we were a few weeks or a few months ago.
Now, Rick, just to bounce off of what Bailey said, you have been talking to tourism officials, and they seem optimistic about 2021 in general, something that we thought wasn't going to happen until much later. What are they telling you about the events coming up this year?
Well, there are actually quite a few that are coming up. And I think the line of demarcation is going to be, around the early part of June when we see our first major convention come back. But in the meantime, there are some significant events that are coming up. We've got the Electric Daisy Carnival is still on the calendar. That's for the middle of May. But again, I think that we're not going to be completely excited about this until we start seeing some of these big shows coming back to town. But on the bright side of that, most of the properties that have convention facilities, we're talking some of the big guys like Las Vegas Sands Corporation, MGM, Caesars Entertainment. Those companies are seeing their calendars fill up very rapidly. And while the bulk of those are going to happen in late 2021, 2022, even 2023, the calendar is that far out in advance planned, then we're going to be seeing more and more of these weekday hotel rooms filled. The weekends are going to be just fine. Anybody who was on the Strip this past weekend saw how crowded it was. It was probably spring break. As Bailey mentioned, we're going to be seeing a lot more people this coming weekend because of the fact that there's going to be the NCAA March Madness tournament going on. People love to spend time in the sports books watching all those games going on simultaneously. So it's one of those things that the weekends were going to be okay, but the weekdays are the ones that are worrisome. And we'll start seeing some of that come back in maybe late April, early May, but the big ones start to happen in June. And I think that's what the Convention and Visitors Authority is looking toward in terms of when we're going to really be back.
Yeah, we also reported on a story this week about the Palazzo now opening up those suites that they had closed down because they just weren't getting enough business. And I'm sure a lot of other hotel and resorts are going to follow if they had, in fact, closed any of their suites or hotel rooms during the week. Bailey, last question. One crucial aspect of the Las Vegas tourism industry is entertainment, as Rick said. So many shows were shut down. What are we going to see on that front?
Yeah, so this is another area where we are just seeing signs of optimism and recovery. Our colleague Johnny Katz did a story where he found that nearly 40 shows are now being performed in Las Vegas. And so that includes things like Piff the Magic Dragon at the Flamingo, David Copperfield at MGM Grand. And we're just seeing a variety of shows start to come back in the city. Couple reasons behind that. One is the increased foot traffic and demand we're seeing, and then another major part behind this is what we were talking about earlier with those the easing of operating restrictions where now venues can have up to 50% capacity. These shows also don't need that 25-foot moat between the stage and the audience, and so certain things like that are also helping these events bounce back.
Rick Velotta and Bailey Schulz are two excellent business reporters here at the Review Journal. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we will continue to bring you the latest business as it happens online at lvrj.com. And of course, we will have an update for you this evening on our 7 at 7 p.m. newscast. You can also download our free RJ mobile app to get news alerts sent straight to your phone. And as always, you can find us on Roku, Alexa, and all of your favorite digital platforms. I'm Renee Summerhour. Thank you for joining me.
You've been watching Breaking News from the Las Vegas Review Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.